Hi everyone. Today we will take a look at the long-term view on Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think those two coins are the most important ones to take a look on because if they move, most often the other altcoins are moving as well. So today I would like to share with you my weekly view on those two coins and how I calculate the levels. Of course, that's a big picture, and many factors are right now not well defined because the waves need to develop itself, and then you can basically fine adjust the target levels based on the new waveforms and also if a wave is extended or not, and then you can basically calculate over the time more accurately the final levels. So we will start with Bitcoin today. As you can see here, that's my weekly chart for Bitcoin. Let me just quickly explain the levels I have already calculated. I will just use here the brush for explaining my waveforms, and therefore it will also be important for you to understand my target levels afterwards. Okay, so I'm expecting here that this is wave 1 on the primer cycle on the weekly chart. Therefore that one here was wave 2, so the final correction. And afterwards we saw an extended wave 3 because this one here was obviously other smaller wave 1, and we cannot say this one here was wave 3 already from the primer cycle. This was a sub cycle, and as you can see, this wave 1 here was overshooting my target a bit. The target I was expecting was here. That's okay because often the wave 1 is pretty complicated to calculate, so because it really depends on the strength of the market. Wave 2 here was the COVID crash, and therefore it shoot lower than my most probable target here. That was also an expected case because the COVID fear. Of course, you can see this one here is my red lowest possible point to actually keep the wave 2 form and the calculation. And we exactly hit this level here. Afterwards, what's next in the past? So basically what we saw in the past was a really extended wave 3 here. It hit exactly the target point, because this wave here was extended, especially this part here. That was an expanded move, and therefore we were expecting that here it was not the end right now, because this one was actually, let me just quickly draw that, this one here was wave 3 of the even lower cycle, and therefore this one here was the last wave 5 move to the upper wave 3 calculation. So let me just quickly draw that to explain that a bit better. So basically what I saw here is this one was wave 1 and wave 2 on the daily level. What we saw here was an extended wave 3 and then a correction wave 4 and the final correction wave 5 on the daily level. That's important to know. So you always have to go back one step lower to daily or even hourly or even minutes to do the final calculation there, to extrapolate that onto the higher time frames to know, okay, what's the final target for the weekly time frames here. But that's already the past, right? So we saw here wave 3, wave 4 and wave 5, and then the completion of the primer weekly cycles. I can just draw that in other color so you see that a bit better. So now we have completed wave 3 here. Okay, what's next? So now we're right now in that downtrend, right? So we're still going down, and basically what we saw is those pushes here, and now we could say, okay, that could be another push and another drawdown. But that's not what I'm currently expecting in my most probable case. So what I am expecting right now is basically that we have completed the zigzag pattern, the corrective zigzag pattern wave for A, B, and C. So what I think right now is that this corrective move here is completed. Of course, we could see another draw down to a lower low. That's possible. Then we have to calculate that new, because then it could say, okay, well, we have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern, something like that, and that would indicate that this is the impulsive wave to actually push a bear market, right? So all the 5 wave patterns are impulsive waves, and the 3 wave patterns are corrective waves. So that means right now I'm still expecting that this was just a corrective move, which was healthy and required for the whole market. But if we get another drawdown here to wave 5 somewhere here, that would mean that this was a 5 wave impulsive wave, and therefore you have to re-evaluate basically what's going next. So are we now in a bigger bear market? Does that mean this one here was not the wave 3, this was the wave 5, and now we're going further down? That could be, of course, one case, but that's not my primarily expected case right now. So I am primarily expecting that this one here was the end of the wave 4, and now we can go upwards again. So that means basically here until somewhere there, that's the new target, and that's the new bull market we all expecting, right? Good. If we go one step further down, you can see the primary wave here has a target end somewhere there, and that's super difficult to calculate because of the missing information inside here. But what I can say right now is, or what I am expecting right now is that we get something like that. So there are 2 different calculation methods we can use basically for this one here. And what I am right now expecting is a target somewhere between, let me just print some price levels here. The most probable case for my calculations right now is that we get something between 120k and 190k in approximately 25. So that's just a really long time frame, and basically my calculation is not yet or is not yet super exact because of those missing information in between. So that means, as we saw here right now, we have saw an extended wave 3 that could be here as well, of course, and that means the wave 4 will never touch those levels here. So maybe we see something like that. That could be a possibility as well, and then that means the wave 5 is somewhere here. That could be a possibility. I have put those levels here just based on the most probable case where those waves are landing. Of course, wave 4 should always be higher than wave 1. That's an important rule for the Elliott-Waves. So if wave 1 is just under this level here, wave 4 should not go into the range where wave 1 is. So that's an important rule as well. Good. So what's next here on those smaller time frames, and basically by until end of year? So what I am expecting that is that this pattern here is just the first wave, right? This one, for the weekly wave 1. So I am expecting something like that. So what we can see here is basically now we run into wave 1 on the daily chart. We have corrected, or we are still in the corrective phase of wave 2. That could not be completed yet. That's still something I am expecting. Usually wave 2 is correcting pretty strong, especially if the wave 1 is pretty flat. So what I could expect, or what I am expecting, is basically something like that. Let me just quickly present that. Now we are in the most probable wave 2 target, right? So if we move upwards again, it's okay for me. We have already reached the target for the wave 2, so we could say that the wave 2 is complete and we can run into wave 3. But usually, or most often, if this is a flat wave 1, we could even target this range here. So we could say, okay, let's go until 1800 or 1900, something like that. I hope you can see this. Let me just quickly make that a bit bigger. Okay, so that would not be a big deal for me. So if we really correct here into this range here, that would be okay for me as well. But if we now see that there's like a reversal pattern or something like that, mostly I really like the bullish engulfing candles here, or as you saw here, that was a bearish engulfing candle, and I really like those. So maybe this one here is a small range for this week, and then we have a bullish engulfing candle, and we can say, okay, that was the final corrective move or on that wave 2, and now we can run into wave 3.